Welcome back to another edition of Real Recognizes Real, where I am your host, College Cottrell Simpson. And this week we got a fun one. This is a prospect who I feel like is the best running back prospect in this class. And not just as a running back prospect, I think he's a top five prospect as far as just talent goes in the entire draft class. And that's Notre Dame running back Jeremiah Love. So really, without further ado, let's go ahead and get right on into it. We'll start off with the pros and the cons of Jeremiah. And for me, I mean, right away, the first thing that stands out is his speed. He has the ability to break any run if you really give him a seam there. And you saw him at the combine. He ran a 4.3, and I think his tape shows that he has the 4.3 speed because again, once he gets out there in that open field, it's really tough for anybody to catch him down the line. And I think what pairs perfect with speed is vision. And if you look at his tape, he sees lanes excellent. He's the kind of guy where he's patient enough at the line of scrimmage to wait for something to develop. He'll see the hole and he's shifty enough to pretty much hit it with a jump cut, or if he needs to use some speed or a spin move, whatever the case may be, he does a great job of getting to the open hole there. And he makes sure he hits it hard, and he's a guy that's going to maximize his yardage pretty much every time you give him that opportunity. Next thing that I love about him is that his hands, he's a reliable pass catcher. And, you saw this a lot, whether it be swing passes from Notre Dame or they even trusted him enough to go out in the slot sometimes. And Notre Dame was in a situation where they also had Jadarian Price as well, the running back spot, where if they wanted to get both these guys on the field at the same time, Jeremiah Love was sometimes lining up out there in the slot where you can trust him to run a few different routes, whether it be going vertical or just something a little bit more shallow like a drag or a slant across the middle there. You can trust his hands there, and I think that's something that's very reliable. As a running back, especially if you're thinking about taking him, pretty early. Potentially in the first round. I think Jeremiah Love's a no doubt about it first rounder. But if you're thinking about taking him in the first round, you definitely can trust his hands. And then the last thing I absolutely love about Jeremiah is his heart. He's going to fight for those extra yardage, whether it be with power, he can try and run you over, or with his elusiveness and his athleticism. He's a guy that'll go with the hurdles, the spin moves. He'll try and run through you. I mean, he really is the entire package there. So definitely love to see that from a running back. Now, as far as the cons go, it's kind of tough, right? Because you don't see too many cons with him actually on his actual tape there in itself. One thing I did list here is his pass pro. He's not necessarily bad, but he's just not, the most consistent. And at the running back spot, it's important to be good in pass protection, but at the same time, you're not taking a guy in the first round because like he's just excellent in pass protection. So not necessarily something to worry about, but definitely one thing I wanted to know. And then the other thing is that you don't necessarily see this on film, or he didn't have like any crazy injuries or anything like that. But I do have my concerns about his durability. And I say that not as like a discredit to him, but I say that because he's never really been in a position where he had to be the true bell cow. Notre Dame has always been the running back by committee type, whether it be if it was Estime last, a couple years ago in 2024, or this past year, they had Jadarian Price as his, 1-2 counterpunch there. And Jeremiah Love's a guy who's only carried the ball 20 plus times in a game, three times in his entire career at Notre Dame. So again, I don't necessarily think it's for sure going to be a problem for him in the pros, but it's definitely something that you kind of have to think about when you're thinking about taking a guy to be your franchise running back there. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get right into his player comp. And for me, again, just looking at the tape, I see a lot of Saquon Barkley in him. Obviously, these guys are the same height there. Saquon's a little bit heavier, and he matches that heavier weight with the athleticism because he obviously jumped out the gym at the combine, 41 inches there, 4.4 40, which Jeremiah Love on the other side is a 4.36. But I think the thing that makes Jeremiah Love remind me so much of Saquon Barkley is the fact that his vision is there. He's a reliable pass catcher out of the backfield, and just the moves that you see on tape with him, the way he's able to hit a jump cut and then hit the sideline and take it the distance, or the way that he's able to hit a spin move in the hole, or the way he's able to hurdle over defenders but still have the balance to get up and have enough wherewithal to maximize his yardage in those situations. It just reminds me so much of Saquon Barkley. And I think once you actually turn on the tape, you see that Jeremiah Love's a lot smaller. Like he looks smaller and more slender than what Saquon is. But at the same time, when you see some of the moves and you see his creativity as far as getting away from defenders, I think it reminds you a ton of Saquon Barkley. And I'm sure teams that are picking that high would love to get a Saquon Barkley esque running back there. And I don't think you'd be upset taking a running back that high if it ultimately ended up being a talent like Saquon. Now, with that said, let's go ahead and get into his film review here. So we got 3 games as always. The 3 games that I picked are all going to be from 2025. I think they are games that showcase, Jeremiah's talent, and I think these are good games as well because it just shows you a little bit of everything that he can do. Now, I will also say that this is going to be a little bit different because I always try and show you guys like some of the things that I don't like on the tape. And again, this isn't to say that Jeremiah's tape is absolutely flawless or anything like that, but the 3 games that I picked, I just want to be upfront with you guys that I don't necessarily see. I didn't see anything that was jarring for me. Even the pass protection situations, like they were enough in these particular games. So this is going to be the first time, in the 3 seasons that we've had this show that all of these plays are going to be, plus positive plays there. But let's go ahead and get right on into the first game here, and I believe that's going to be against Texas A&M. So I will go ahead and get us rolling here. And this first one is just showing off his catching ability. So obviously Jeremiah is going to be in the backfield here, and I believe he's on a wheel route here. So we'll see him. We'll see the play as it develops here. Um, Jeremiah Love going out, and then, yes, it is the wheel pattern, and you get the one-handed catch here. And again, I know no one is out there, and it's you have open space there, but being able to haul that in with one hand in stride and then go score the touchdown, I think that's a good play to display. Like this is a kid that's going to have reliable hands there for you. So we'll see it again here from the end zone view. Again, they drill up the play here. They throw the one hander, he sticks it out there and he has the speed, get away from the defender and just enough to get into the end zone there. So love that play from Jeremiah Love there. Second play we're going to go to is a play at 3304 in this one. And this is one that's showing off some vision from Jeremiah. So here, bang, perfect. So see here, A&M's in a, 4-person front here. They got 5 in the box, and I think 5 in the box is going to be very tough to stop Jeremiah, but we'll see what ultimately happens here. So play looks like just a general zone concept, but he gets through the line there and he makes the most of the yardage, and that goes for a first down in that situation. So let's see it again here from the end zone view. I think with running backs, you get a better idea of what things look like from the end zone view. So we'll see it kind of play out here. So does a great job, zone blocking scheme, follows his blockers, cuts it out there, get some extra yardage. Again, I think that is a textbook kind of play there. That's exactly what you want from a running back running through inside zone and reading your blockers, maximizing your yardage there, and getting to where you need to go to make sure you get a first down. So good stuff there. Now let's go ahead and go later on in this game. And I think as the game went on, as close as this game was, Jeremiah tried his hardest to put this game, on his shoulders and go win the football game here. So we'll go to 4904, where he shows, some more great vision. Got him in the backfield here, and they actually put him in the Wildcat. And they trusted him a lot going Wildcat here to, make players miss and get through there. So you had your pulling blockers there. You get through the seam there. I think that's a good play to, again, not anything crazy there, but I think this is a good opportunity to show that Jeremiah will take what you give him. He's not necessarily going to always try and hit the home run, which I think a lot of star running backs, tend to do because they're always the best athlete out there on the field. Jeremiah's a guy who's going to come in and do exactly what you need him to. So follow your blockers, get downhill, maximize the yards. Takes 3, 4 guys to get him down. That's good stuff from Jeremiah. Now we just got a couple more plays in this one, and again, this is the tail end of the game here, and I think these are probably his 2 best plays from from the game itself there. The one-hander was cool, but I think with the game on the line here, especially when your team needs you to produce, I think it's important to have plays like this. So obviously you see they're down here in the red zone, and I have this play listed as fight for yards here. So you got them going back to the Wildcat here, and you could see from the sidelines up top that this is fourth and short. They get the first down. He keeps the legs moving. And again, for him to be 212 pounds and, it take that many defenders to get him down. I mean, I think that just goes to show you how powerful this kid is and, just how much heart he has because he is going to fight for these yards, whenever given the opportunity. So you see it from the end zone view. The hole looked kind of clogged up there. He's able to find the space, wiggle through there, and pick up the first down. And give his team an opportunity to put points up on the board. And again, just looking at the time here, this is the fourth quarter. It's crunch time. It's 34-34 in the situation. And the very next play, this is the very next play after what we just talked about with Jeremiah. They give him the ball again. And I think this is winning time. So you give Jeremiah the ball here, finds the seam, goes through the little arm tackle from the linebacker from Texas A&M. I actually think that's Torian York, who's a very good player, but he runs through the arm tackle of Torian York. And you'll see it again from the end zone view here. Torian York's going to be a guy that you hear, pretty early in this upcoming draft. Like he's going to be most likely a day 2 pick at the linebacker position. So it's not like it's just some scrub that he's doing this to. But you see, going through the hole there, running right. Look at this. I mean, this is textbook. If you're a linebacker, you got your head across, you're trying to wrap up there, but he goes right through that and gets into the end zone. I mean, what more can you want from your running back there? So I think it was a great display from Jeremiah in that game. And now we are going to go ahead and go to the second game from Jeremiah. And that game is going to be against, I believe, USC, where he put up some monster numbers in that one. So just give me 1 second here. I'll go ahead and get the game pulled up here. And we are going to start off with a play that it did not take long to get going for him. And that's going to, let me actually take that back. That was the Syracuse game. Let me get the USC game up here. But again, this game that we're going to be reviewing here shortly is from USC, and it's a game where literally second play of the game, he's ready to rock and roll, and you see a home run shot just right out the gate here. So let's go ahead and get into this here. Go there and start it out here. So again, I said second play of the game. You got Jeremiah Love in the backfield there, right next to CJ Carr. And let's take a look at what happens here. So they pull, he goes backside, boom, hits the seam. And again, in this case, DB took a good angle. They get him down here, but that's the kind of player that Jeremiah is. I mean, anytime you get him out there in open space, it is liable to go a really long way. So we'll see it again here from the end zone view. Gets the handoff, reads his blockers well. Huge hole, hits it, and then, like I said, it's going to be tough to chase him down. Do you think DB has some speed here? Took a good angle, get him down there. But now Notre Dame is in the red zone right away, and this is a top 25 matchup, between two teams here. So starting off hot pretty much, and just putting your team in a position to put points up on the board pretty early is always a great start there. Now we're going to go to 232. We're going to look at some vision here from Jeremiah. I believe they are still in the red zone when we get there. Yep, they are. So you'll see here, they give him the handoff, goes through the middle, touchdown. And again, I think you get a better understanding from the end zone view itself there. So we'll take a look at it from this angle here. So go motion a bit. It's like it's not a counter play, but you got some guys pulling, I guess more so like a trap. Gets through the hole there, gets to the outside. That's all she wrote. That's a touchdown. Again, textbook stuff. He's not reinventing the wheel here. He's just doing exactly what he's supposed to, and he has the speed to get it done every step of the way. And we'll go ahead and move on to 1238. And I got this one down as Jeremiah fighting for some extra yardage here. All right. So Jeremiah in the backfield. They did a lot of things that cross and look, broken tackle. He's dragging two defenders there with him, picking up some extra yardage there. Again, that is that is excellent stuff. So we'll start it back from where it was, and then we'll go through the end zone view again. But I think it's better to see it from this angle for this particular play because you're able to see how much extra yardage he was able to create. So that's one broken tackle going through. You got 2 guys on your back there, and you're just dragging them forward for some additional yardage there. I mean, that's just the fight in this kid, and I absolutely love to see that, and I know a lot of people don't necessarily like drafting running backs high and things like that. I think Jeremiah Love has a talent that he'd be able to absolutely change, a team's franchise with his ability there. So again, see it here, runs right through the hole there. Nice little move in the hole with the elusiveness, and then he brings the power with it. He's fighting for the yardage. It takes 2 guys to bring him down. You love to see that from Jeremiah there. I'll move on a little bit. Might even be the same drive here. Going to 1450. They get down in the red zone. And again, it's more of the same here. So Notre Dame, again, love pulling guys here, bringing guys across. So you get a pull here. This looks like it's going to be more of a counter. And take a look at it, goes behind his blockers, goes to the outside, and you see he's lowering the shoulder, bowls over the defender there. Doesn't quite have enough to get in the end zone, but again, you love to see that. You got a running back that is not afraid to put his head down, but also has the speed and also has the elusiveness. I mean, that is the entire package of what you'd be looking for at the position. So again, from the end zone view, look, put his head down, fighting forward. That's a great run. And now you're on the doorstep of a 14-10 ball game, second quarter. And you're putting your team in a position to go put points up on the board. And I believe they did punch in later on this drive on a CJ Carr keeper. But let's go ahead and move forward in this one. We just got a couple more in this one. We'll move on later in the game here because that's money time for Jeremiah. So we'll go to 33-29. Let's see. Oh, too far. All right, we'll go there and we'll start it from here. All right. So see what happens. Got a listed here some good vision. So another again, you see the puller, see going through the hole, picks up the first down. And again, nothing that reinvents the wheel here necessarily, but I think you get a better view of it with the vision side of things here from the end zone view. So we'll pause it through here. Bang. So again, you got the puller, your tight end here, going up through the hole. Doesn't really find work, but makes it enough. He chips somebody else. You like to see him go through the hole and be a lead blocker for him, but didn't ultimately happen there. But you do see Jeremiah Love going through and picking up the first down and following his blockers and again taking what the defense is giving him. And then the last play that I got listed here is going to be for vision as well. We'll go 3807. All right, close enough here. So again, more good vision. And let's see. Looks like more of just a duo kind of play there. Goes through, picks up the first down. Again, nothing special here, guys. He's just doing exactly what you need him to. So he sees it, gives a little cutback to maximize yardage there. I think a lot of people or a lot of just different running backs would have tried to bounce that outside and see if they could beat him with speed. But no, he cuts it back in because that's where more of the open room was. And go out, stick your foot, cut up field, and again, takes 2 guys to bring him down. Great stuff from Jeremiah there. Now we are approaching our last game with Mr. Love here, and that is against Syracuse. And this one is short, sweet, to the point. Notre Dame absolutely dominated in this one, and you're going to see that with the film. I believe he only actually had 9 carries in this game, so take that for what it's worth there. But we will go ahead and get this last game up here. There, boom. And let's get it going. So again, just like the USC game, we are going to start pretty early in this one. And this is also the second play of Notre Dame being on offense. So see, they got the box kind of stacked here. You got what, 8 guys in the box here for Jeremiah Love. So I mean, and then you got this guy creeping up here just right outside the box there. So they know run is coming. But let's see what happens and see how Jeremiah breaks it free here. So typical inside zone. He makes one defender miss, and then with his speed, he's gone. Like I said earlier, you give him an open seam, you give him clear field. There are not many guys who are going to be running him down in this one. So again, we'll take a look at it from the end zone view. CJ Carr does a great job of recognizing where things will be opened up at, flips the play, and again, give it to Jeremiah. One cut, hits the seam, and he's out of there. You're not getting him down by ankle tackles, very often there. So you saw the Syracuse defender dive in, clear miss there, and absolutely nothing you can do in those situations there. So now we'll go ahead and go to 440, where I got this charted as he's fighting for some additional yardage here. So we'll start off here, backfield there. So they'll give it to him. Again, looks like just a regular HB dive, stiff arm, running through the defender there, and again, picking up extra yardage there. So I know Syracuse weren't necessarily world beaters there, but I absolutely love like what Jeremiah's game is as a whole, because this is the entire package. Again, just a regular dive play, get to the sideline, stiff arm, running through. I mean, a lot of running backs go out there. They don't want to necessarily take the hit, especially in a game where Syracuse is up 30. Notre Dame is up 35 nothing at this point, and they're still in the first quarter. So you don't have to take, the unnecessary hits on the sideline. But that's just the motor that Jeremiah has. He's gonna take those hits, and he's maximizing his yardage every time out there. We'll go ahead and go to the 558 marker, where I got it listed as some good vision here. So in the red zone here, obviously, you're cutting it back there. Doesn't get it into the end zone, but again, I think the end zone view will do this play a little bit more justice there. Looks like a play that seemingly stopped up pretty early. And so bring it up there. CJ Carr recognizes what they have. And again, looks like it's stopped up pretty early. Syracuse made a great play, but the jump cut back into the hole there, you pick up your yardage there. I mean, a play that should have gone for either no gain or maybe even a loss goes for a few there, and you put your team even close to the end zone there. So great vision there. And then we just got 2 more plays before we wrap this up with Jeremiah's film study. So we will go ahead and go to 10:45 here. And again, Notre Dame lived in the red zone in this football game, but we're going to go ahead and show off some more of the Jeremiah Love vision here. So, boom, go inside just to cut it back out. And then you get into the end zone for the touchdown here. And let's see it better from the end zone view. So, just a basic outside zone play, it looks like. So, yep, outside zone. You get him out there, and again, a lot of people probably would have tried to cut outside and just try and beat that corner to the end zone, but not Jeremiah here. So, I think at this point here, boom. Yes, this defender is turning him outside. I'm just saying, I know I see it all the time. A lot of players still try and go to the outside and beat that guy, but Jeremiah Love is smart enough where you go on the inside here, and then he has the speed to get right back out to beat the defender to the pylon and actually get into the end zone there. And then the last play in this one, we're going to 15:07, where he hits the home run to really seal the deal in this game. So 15:07 here. Looks like it's going to be a 70-yard touchdown, and right through the seam there, through the middle. Again, you give him the open space, you are not catching that guy. That is a touchdown. Again, it was blocked up well here from Notre Dame's end. So give credit, a lot of credit to that offensive line here. But again, it just kind of just shows you that once you give Jeremiah this kind of lane, he's liable to go and hit his head on the goalpost. So see it from the end zone view. hole opens up wide as can be, little jump cut to a little defender and off to the races, and you're not catching him in these situations, and he's going to hit his head on the goalpost in this one. So love seeing Jeremiah's film study this year. I think that, he is a running back that is going to go pretty high in the draft. And I know some people are going to have question marks about how high should he go. I'm saying that if you believe that he can be, and I'm not saying he's going to go be Saquon Barkley, although that was my player comp for him, but I think he's going to be a top 10 running back in this league. And if you think that that's enough to change the course of your franchise, I think you shouldn't be afraid to go draft him. I'm looking at teams that are up there in needing a running back. I'm looking at I was looking at the Kansas City Chiefs before signing Kenneth Walker, but now some of those other teams that are up there. The Cowboys. I don't know if they draft running back this high with all the question marks they have on defense, but just one of those teams that are on the verge and they just need a playmaker on offense. Don't be scared to go draft Jeremiah Love here because he is the real deal, and he could provide a crazy spark to your offense. But that's everything I got on Jeremiah Love this week. Next week, we are going to be going to the defensive side of the ball for our first defensive prospect this season, and that's going to be R. Mason Thomas, the edge out of Oklahoma. I think he's severely underrated. I think his injury concern is one that scares off some people from him or doesn't necessarily have him as high as some of the other edges in this class. But I firmly believe he is a top 5 edge in this class, and I can't wait to go over the film with you guys next week. So again, as always, I appreciate you guys for tuning in with me, staying to watch the film study here. Of course, appreciate all the likes, the comments, the shares, all that good stuff. And if there's anybody that you want me to take a look at or give some feedback on or whatever the case may be, feel free to drop it in the comments. Shoot me a message on the side, whatever the case may be, because I love going through the film and just reviewing some things here. So again, appreciate all the support, along the way here, and can't wait to get back with you guys next week and show you a little bit of R. Mason Thomas from Oklahoma. So appreciate the love, and we'll see you next week.